Welcome back to Almost Above Average, the podcast where we dive deep into conversations that matter most. I am your host, Chris McIntyre, and today we have a truly special episode for you. In this segment, focusing on men's mental health, we're joined by two incredible guests, Black Silk and AJ Johnson. Together, we'll explore intricate layers of emotional health, touching on everything from effective communication in relationships to the importance of intellectual discussions that challenge and inspire us. Our guests will share their personal journeys, revealing how they've navigated emotional challenges and the transformative power of therapy. But that's not all. We'll also dive deep into practical advice on financial literacy and how to build a sustainable future for ourselves and our communities. Imagine using a roofing company to fund a media company, or raising animals for food independence. These are just some of the innovative ideas we're going to discuss. As we reflect on our childhood experiences, we'll uncover how family dynamics and lessons learned from our parents shape our parenting styles today. We'll talk about resilience, the significance of tough love, and how to teach the next generation about accountability and contribution. So grab your headphones and get ready for an enlightening conversation filled with honesty, insight, and actionable advice. Now let's get started.
Video edits in post, I guess.
Fix it in post. We'll fix it in post.
I'll get with my editor, back office staff, and we'll talk about what we need to do. How are you doing, AJ? Just waking up?
Yeah, I had a late night last night. A friend came over and we get into intellectual conversations, and it just keeps on going for hours upon hours upon hours. And there's a lot of things to talk about. So
That's a good friend.
Well, facts over feelings. So as disagreements aren't really there. There's opinions, there's feelings, and then when you're basing things in facts and not feelings, it helps a lot. But when you're trying to get to a place of understanding, it helps a lot.
Surrounding yourself with people that you can actually talk like that too is
That's the best thing right there. No bullshit. I have I have a few really good friends who we can actually talk about things and actually come to conclusions towards things and to a certain point of understanding and stuff like that. Because there's a whole bunch of rhetoric being passed that's it's not even that serious, but yet it's made out to be that serious. People cement their stance and they base their whole ego and who they are off of their stance, and not they're not able to adjust their stance on.
Am I frozen or is everyone else frozen?
Information and stuff like that. So
they can't think critically when presented with new information.
Trying to reconnect. Make sure
they're stuck in their decision. I already believe this. I can't think anything else.
So I got crusties all in my eyes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. That just makes the podcast more real. You know what I'm saying? Yo, we're getting out of bed for this.
As far as topics, did we even come up with a topic or anything else like that?
Well, I had a couple in mind, but we didn't discuss it. We talked about it last episode where I wanted to discuss how our parent or how my fathers processed their emotions and how the effect that had on us. Mm-hmm. I was also thinking of talking about the issues that men face that bring them down this depression pathway. For instance, being in a relationship with a partner, let's say, and she's not having sex with you or something like that. The problems or the issues that come up when a man feels rejected inside of a relationship, or just rejected in general, I guess. I don't know. Those are just some topic ideas.
Those are really good points and stuff like that. Something that was on my mind was how to reach out to people with differing opinions, and they set off their I think I talked to Adams about this. Is they have such harsh stances, and their opinions is really sometimes their opinions are very hateful, and then they get stuck on this isolation island to where they're really depressed. Now they have no idea what to do, and it's because they hate every other fucking person that has a differing opinion or something. That's like are we really trying to protect them from their own fucking karma?
Yeah.
Type shit. You know what I mean? That's a different conversation that I haven't heard anyone talk about. And also it's something that I'm struggling with because I really want to help people, but I'm not trying to fucking get into arguments with fucking people because they're so stuck in their fucking ways and they can't talk about things critically or can't think critically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of that too is in how we present ideas to someone. If just while you were saying that, I've noticed that when my wife, for instance, when she comes in the house after work and she's tired or whatever, and her first words to me, a negative tone, like a bitchy, how come you didn't take the trash out? When the first words her mouth are negative and they put me in a mood, that changes the whole trajectory of the evening for me, because now we're at odds. You know what I mean? And then I'm stuck in my head about it the whole time, so I have to think about that shit.
That's a major one. Like, I've struggled with that with my relationships a lot, and I'm avoidant detachment. So if I feel disrespected, or I feel like you don't value me, or I appreciate the shit that I do, then I don't want to have nothing to do.
You're the one that gets home and does and initiates the well, no, hey, that's honest. That's you're reflecting on how you are. I think that's a lot of what we're going to do here on the podcast is us fixing ourselves and showing it.
That was one thing that before sentence sentence you never should have to minutes. It's not gonna
Still present. Well, I think that's important. I don't know. I am one of those people where I am fragile. If you come home and you don't treat me fragilely, if your first words are a reflection of how shitty your day was to me, then I am now in a shitty mood, and I'm gonna keep that mood for the rest of the evening or until you change, because I'm stubborn. You know what I mean? What I should be doing is just letting that go, understanding you had a rough day, knowing that you didn't really aim that at me, and just be like, all right, I'll chalk that up. But if you do that enough, if that's the stuff we're talking about, we bottle that shit up. And eventually those little things are the ones that turn into this big depression debacles we're talking about.
and it's not a problem, it's just close proximity. You know, some person in bad moods, they don't want to look, and their boss was a complete jerk to them that day. And the only thing about it's not, I'm not saying that you're supposed to be someone's punchy,
And they're comfortable with you.
but because so quickly to deal with it, you know.
I think when, say, your partner does come home, that's something that I have gone through before. That decompression after they first get home, that first hug and that kiss, especially the hug. Not really the kiss, because the kiss could be a peck or whatever the case may be, but that when you actually go in and you embrace each other, that decompression right there, and this allowing each other just to breathe, that helps. Before anything else, before you get to tackle all your problems or anything else like that, you decompress together, allowing her to just boom, or allowing you to just release all that other anxiety, anger, all this pent up shit you have from work or whatever else that stressed you out throughout the day.
Right.
And you can maybe not release it on your partner, but it takes building up those neural pathways. You have to go through these small motions of pretty much understanding, and instead of that aggression, that letting loose of that comfort. You know what I mean?
Taking action, right? So me and my wife tried to do this. We're still trying to do it. We tried to make a habit of every day we just give each other a really, really long hug. Purpose, out of habit, even if we're mad at each other. We tried to do it. We probably did it for maybe a month and a half straight where we didn't forget. And then things started happening. Then it was like every other day. And we're in that space where we're almost forgetting it. So now it's like, when I remember, it's like, oh shit, we didn't hug each other today. We fell out of that habit, this is a good reminder it's important because it softens, regardless of what you two are going through, it softens both of you up. Let's prepare for this. I'm in a bad mood. I don't know what kind of mood you are, but let's start here. I love you. You love me. Let's start there, and then let's talk about whatever you're about to bitch about.
Because when you come in through those doors, you carry a whole lot of other stuff on your shoulders from you battling the fucking world. You know what I mean? So after you battle the world, you come in those doors. And if you do feel your partner snapping, that's a time to think about, all right, have we had our hug? Instead of me reacting this way, because you're responsible for your own reactions towards anything. You know what I mean? They're responsible for how they treat you. Yeah, sure. But how you react to how they treat you, that is your responsibility. So, if you take that time to have we had our hug today, and then you get your hug, and then you can address it if you choose to address it. And then that's when it comes down to communication efforts and how you guys communicate between each other. And then maybe it's like, oh, and then how was your day? You know what I mean? It may transition a little bit better into that more comfortable place.
Right.
Where you guys are respecting each other and appreciating each other rather than letting loose on each other. You know what I mean? Because
it should, for anybody that lives in a house together, it should be a place where everyone feels like they can go to be at peace. When everything is shitting on you in the world, I want to go home because that's where I feel comfortable. That's where my love is. That's where my food is. That's where my family is. So if you have a partner, that is not the case when you get home. If you dread going home because you don't want to get bitched at, that's a serious, serious problem for mental health. You know what I mean?
It really is. And I think a lot of men go through that, especially I've seen some friends and family go to work to escape what they go through at home. A lot of men work for therapy. And just even talking to coworkers, it feels like I've been a therapist at times, just dealing with their family and all the other stress that they go through and stuff like that. Just giving people different ways of exercises or different ways to release. And it helps them not really be as frustrated or mad at their situation in life.
Right.
But it's on them to actually fix it. And it's hard to fix other people's problems when they already don't know how. So once again, always suggest therapy. I always suggest therapy because I can't fix everyone's problems.
And it's easier to talk to a stranger.
A perfect stranger. This is the perfect stranger.
Shit, you could get into a situation where you don't ever have to see the other person. They don't have to see you. You could be totally anonymous in therapy nowadays. Or that.
Father, forgive me for I have sinned.
Right.
Isn't that a form of therapy when
It
you're
is.
confessing your sins?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
I feel like it is. I've never been to confessional, like a real one, but when I feel something like I did wrong, when I actually confess to God, just me and God, it's therapy. You're told to something, like that's cleansing. It's a very cleansing activity.
yeah.
But what about my dad when we grew up? If I learned from my dad how to deal with my emotions, I wouldn't ever. That's probably why I had a bunch of mental problems because I didn't know how to deal with mine. That's why I picked up alcohol, picked up drugs, and that, medicated it that way. Because my dad he doesn't have emotions. I've seen him cry maybe once or twice. But like even when he's upset, he's just stoic. Happy and sad look the same on him.
That's the same. I think it was also a different generation as well. They weren't allowed to actually show their emotions, or that wasn't manly, or that wasn't this. I think that right there is that is the toxic masculinity. The fact that you're not talking about your emotions, you're forced to bottle down everything. So that way, like, you don't really know how to express yourself other than anger, because we resort to anger really fast. You know what I mean? Or self-medicating so you're not angry.
Yeah. Well, so you forget the reasons why you were angry.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But that turns into a horrible way to deal with at least for me, because I started dealing with every problem that I have that way.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm upset about a girl, drink it away. If I'm upset about work, drink that away. I taught myself a whole slew of horrible habits.
Yeah.
On dealing with my bad behavior. Is Chris frozen?
It looks like it.
Oh, he beat it.
The king of internet connection issues.
The man, the myth. What do you got going on today? You working today?
I'm working every day, bro. Like when you work for yourself, it's nonstop, constantly, all the fucking time. Like the only thing to stop me right now is President's Day, so I can't ship out one of the projects. Because I have tombs, honestly, across America at this point that are in churches, recreations of Jesus tombs.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's one in Southern California, around San Diego or Temecula, maybe somewhere around there. Then there's one in Vegas. There's one about to be shipped to Dallas, and I think there's one out there in South Carolina as well.
Oh yeah, business is good.
I mean, it's picking up. It's moving. I've been working on these keychains a lot. I mean, you just got to seeing the Dr. Fate helm.
Yeah, that's dope. I love it.
I just got through doing a Black Panther helmet. Right now I got a Hydra keychain, and I think it's a Conan sword that's printing out on one of the printers as well.
Yeah.
Stay moving, and then with the keychains, it's constant attention because they're 2 hour long prints.
Yeah.
In between those prints, there's color changes. So in between, you have to swap out the filaments to other colors and shit like that. So
Nice.
it's just you stay fucking busy. You stay busy.
That's good that you're working for yourself and you're sustaining your life with your own business. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. That's what financial literacy is important, and I had to learn it. And then once I figured out money's fake as fuck, and it doesn't even fucking matter. It really changed my way of doing business because I used to be a cash rules everything around me type shit. But then like Nipsey Hussle really got me to start to think other ways, like as far as investing, as far as like working on your credit and everything else like that. And then once I started picking up more self-help books as far as financial literacy, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you know what I mean? Unfuck Your Mind, a whole bunch of other books to like actually help yourself. It let me know that why borrow money from other people, make money with that borrowed money, and then pay back the debt. It's a hell of a lot. And then your EIN, as long as you have EIN, you don't have no fucking no taxes as long as you're not making fucking profits. So just make sure everything's counteracting. There's zero profits. They can't tax you on shit. That's the way to wealth. You take out the fucking your taxes. You try not to pay fucking interest, and then fucking that's the way you keep your fucking money. Other than that, banks take all your fucking take your money with interest, and the government takes your money with taxes. So EINs have a lot more leeway than your SS number. That's for sure. And working for somebody else a 9 to 5, you're gonna lose like 30 to 40% of your paycheck federally, and then you have states on top of that in some states. So it's like taxes are it sucks.
Yeah.
So you can find a way to not.
I gotta get mine together. I think you froze again.
You back and frozen.
Good look. I just started my roofing company last week. I got the LLC and shit.
Yeah,
I start to go crazy this coming week.
that's good.
Yeah,
That's good. Make sure everything's a fucking tax write-off. Everything's a tax write-off.
yeah,
Like, I use Amazon Business a lot, and so like a lot of different tools, a lot of things like that, and zero profits. Zero profit. Like if say your shed is out there in the backyard and it houses all your tools, rent that out to your fucking business. That's another expense. You know what I mean? So now a part of your a part of this is your expense. You know what I mean? So like,
yeah. This is my office, my official office. My truck is my work truck.
yeah, exactly. I think your truck has to be over 6,000 pounds, and you're able to write off up to 80% of it.
Yeah,
I
there's.
think
I heard
they just
that.
adjusted it. It used to be 100%, but I think they reduced it down to 80%.
Yeah,
As far as certain vehicles.
and I travel so many miles. I drive so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's all reimbursed as well. Like, a certain amount is reimbursed, so that helps. All that stuff helps. Zero.
I gotta get all that figured out though. I'm excited though. I'm going to use the roofing company to pay the bills and to give me enough time so I can just focus on building the media company up. Because I can do like, if I run 4 contracts a month, I'll be making more than enough to cover all that and dedicate a lot of time just to this. You know,
Yeah,
that's the goal. Welcome back, Chris.
if you're filming your
for some reason.
your internet, bro.
You have shitty internet. Well, no, I got a media company and the roofing company, so I'm going to do a lot of roofing content. You know,
Yeah, exactly. It's that way. Like you have an EIN for your roofing company.
Yeah,
and that'll help you tax write-offs for your media companies as well.
Right. I did a DBA for the roofing company. Are you?
No, I thought I had a laptop because last time it was kind of well. I'm wondering if it's just in there. I am going to try something else.
Where's your router at? You might have poor signal strength.
With charge?
Yeah,
How far to get to?
Get them out. Yeah, pheasants to raise them. So yeah, I used to raise pheasants. Right now I have a pig, ducks, and rabbits.
okay. For food?
We have eaten some of the rabbits before, and I shot a pig before, but this one we call him Bacon, but that one's I got a friend, so.
Yeah. His food became pets because his girlfriend won't let him kill him. And so I tease him. I go over there. I'm like, sir, which one's on the chopping block tonight?
Yeah, that's funny shit. Evil.
I pulled the trigger on my chicken coop. I just ordered my chicken coop
And up there,
yesterday,
boy.
in fact. So once I get all that set up, then
You get a chicken coop?
Yes, you get it.
chicken coop. And
How many chickens?
the chicken coop holds
Get-
4. So like that's what I'm setting up for 4 right now. And then I'm going to see how that works out.
No.
And then I
No,
also
you
want
should,
food rabbits as well.
Yeah.
So I might just go snatch up a couple of Chris's random rabbits and run around his yard.
What is the benefit to having rabbits?
Meat. like a lot of meats. Like you can get up to like 56 pounds of rabbit a year.
Yeah.
And
Really?
that's just having a pair of rabbits. And like if you get like silver fox rabbits or like a certain breeds of rabbits, they stay with the same colors of pelts. So not only do you get the meats, but you're also able to make clothes and other things from those pelts as well.
No shit. That's pretty cool. I did not know that.
I'm not really keen on a whole like being reliant on this whole system. So if I'm able to have a garden, a worm farm, chicken coop, and fucking feeding rabbits for food, then that removes my dependency on the grocery store.
Yeah.
Supermarket?
Now I have something I can watch. I'd rather work for myself. So if food is a major expense and food prices are going crazy, if less people are reliant on food, then they have no choice but to drop their prices. That's our only way of actually fighting back the system is to unplug ourselves from their system.
Yeah.
That's the only way. Like we've been yelling till we're blue in the face for how fucking long, and they don't care. So if you just unplug, they'll start to listen.
You're becoming a doomsday prepper, aren't you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I mean, you have no idea what's going to happen, and like they can only hoard so much, and then once they they can only hoard so much, and if you're not relying on some shit, then like what are you gonna like? They can the prices are going up. The prices are going up. Well, all my cars are paid off. I fix all my own cars. I'm able to move around like when I need to. Like I have all my own food.
Yeah.
What do I need you for? Like I have shelter. I pay my property taxes. That's the only taxes I try to pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the thing about it is that a lot of times when a lot of the people who are on the uppity up try to indulge your knowledge to say that you want a piece of the pie without realizing that you can make your own pie. And that's a very, very big concept. If you can understand that, then you're going to be in such a better place. Because I'm supposed to be getting putting together my beehive in this spring, so then that way, we can have stuff there. But the thing about it is that if you get yourself a small knit community, you all do something, you all have something, and so forth. That makes everything a lot better because then, regardless of egg prices going up, you have somebody who is getting you some of their eggs and so forth. And there's a lot of things, but you have to build that community. There's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I wish that someone would give me free eggs. Or I wish somebody would give me free money. But if you never built up that community, then you're never going to actually have the things like that because you're not putting anything in and you're expecting things out. That's not how this world works. So,
I mean, it's fair exchange. As long as people are putting in work, then like you can be a part of the community. Like say Chris, I'm learning from him as far as like what to do as far as the feed rabbits are concerned. Yeah, he's not eating them anymore, but he understands the concepts of it. So I'm learning from him. When he gets the honey up and running, I've already asked multiple times, hey, well, what do you need? Can I help invest into that? Because that's great. He has a bunch of flowers and the honey on his land would be great. You know what I mean? And then if I'm able to trade eggs for that honey, like we're all helping each other out. Like we're working on pelts together. You know what I mean?
A kingdom is born.
100%. A community is born. And I think that's what like the way our society has been, like at least here in America, I feel like they're trying to get everyone to be hyper individual. So they become multiple, like really dependent on the services provided. But if we actually came together on as a community, then we're actually able to take care of each other and be less reliant on them. You know what I mean? So
yeah. How do we do that? Like we have to exit society. We have to get a group together, build a commune.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but then you're talking about communism,
and Jonestown.
Yeah, like no bullshit.
Yeah. I think that'd be a cool concept to have a commune like that. But without the crazy sex things.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a fucking sex cult.
The families in the Middle East will just buy a whole mansion, and then everyone just kind of like split the bills, and then the bills is like $400 for rent for the entire family, and that's included like electricity. You know, there's a lot of things you can do, and if you actually have a bigger community, that's when like what we call big families end up working out so well because everybody is working on something. Everybody has their prayers, everyone has their ideas and so forth. I'm an expert. Well, I'm a, you know, so everyone comes
together to help
together.
each
And it
other out.
becomes a really good thing because everybody understands where their place is and how people that can rely on. And the problem with our society right now is that you have a lot of people that do not have the proper skills or wherewithal or know about it, but they still want to be in commune situations like that because they want all the free stuff without putting anything into the system. So it makes it a very, very lucrative investment if you can get a good, solid group of people together. But you just need to make sure that the people that aren't solid aren't there. You know?
Yeah, you can't, because the moment you introduce a negative vibe into that community, it's cancer.
It's like it can just literally sit right next to the other apples, and the next thing you know, you just see that starts affecting every single other apple in the whole bag. And the next thing you know, you have just this huge bag of just mush.
Yeah.
That's if you
Right.
let that happen. Now, I'm not saying alienate yourself from other people just because they may have some bad traits or anything else like that. But you give certain people certain like abilities. Like you let certain people
Right.
in, and you only let them in to a certain extent to where they can't affect other people. You give them small responsibilities, and you get them to where they need to be through like a no bullshit discipline, and there's tough love. Like you have like, and if they can't take that, then no, you can't be a part of it.
Right.
Like if you're able to fucking like show that you're able to keep on going and move on, like all right, check that shit at the door. Let's go. Let's move on. Let's do this. Let's do that. Then you kind of nip that in the butt before it's able to affect other people and other things like
Right.
that. You know what I mean? Oh, you have a good day? Well, fucking go shovel some fucking shit. See how that has to be done anyway. The fucking go turn the fucking chicken coop.
Yeah. You're the shit shoveler. That's your contribution to our society.
You know what I mean? Like, or fucking go fucking make sure fucking this is that, or fucking just go walk the fucking land. You know what I mean? There's
Go
other,
look for dangerous things.
or I mean, if they're just having a rough day, go out there and sit in the blind.
Yeah. Okay.
see what you can pull in. There's other ways of fucking dealing with the toxic or
No, you said like the toxic.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean the shit is toxic. The shit is toxic, and it can affect you. It can affect you.
So do we alienate that toxic person because he doesn't fit in our society? So now we kind of shun that person, right? And then what? Then now that person's got some mental issues to deal with.
So that's a funny situation because you give the person a chance. You give all these people chances to prove themselves, but the problem with it is that if you basically alienate yourself if you can't actually stand it. It's kind of like if I constantly tell people, it's like, oh, I'll be there for you, and then I'm never there for them. You know, then I see that I'm not getting invited to things, and I'm not, you know, and no one really cares because guess what? This person makes a lot of promises they can't keep. So why, it sounds like putting a lot of, equity down, a lot of money down on something because everybody else says that they're not going to pitch in. Like, say if you're, buying the kind of stuff and so forth to this land that we're supposed to be pitching in for. But then when it's time to pay taxes and stuff, nobody wants to pitch in for it. Everyone else gets stuff out of it, benefiting off of it. But when it's time to put our things together, nobody wants to do it. There are two people that want to do it,
Well, I mean, are they completing their task? Because not everyone has money.
They're
or whatever
completing
the
the
case may be.
task,
There's
then
also
that's one
flex-
situation. But
There's
some
also
people
flex-
are just not. They're just enjoying it.
if you're not contributing, if you're not contributing, you're not a part. And like that's where tasks go into accountability. And time passing doesn't time doesn't heal all wounds. Accountability heals all wounds.
All right.
Did they shovel the shit? Are the weeds picked? Like, because it's about working up to knowledge-based things. If you bring something to the table, bring that to the table. If it's not brought to the table, then why are you at the table?
Yeah, you don't belong at the table. We all have our things.
Where's
your thing?
It's point blank facts over feelings.
Yeah.
That's what it is. can care less about how you feel about the situation. If you're not doing said thing, or if you're not a part of said thing, then you're not a part of it.
And the training for that kid to know that he needs to have a thing needs to start when he's a baby. We got to raise our children like that. You got to have something to offer.
We have to be the example. So we can't expect them to come in automatically knowing. Because once you lead the way and you provide a good example, then they want to copy you. They're going to come to you as for guidance and leadership, and actually, well, what are you doing that's so different? It seems to be working for you, and so they come in and they try to mimic you. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I did a lot of my life, is mimic other people that I admired, that I thought were cool as fuck. I did that with you in high school, fucking man.
Me too.
You're a funny, cool kid. So I had to catch up in growing too.
Well, that's why when friends hang out, you see similarities in the way that they talk and the way that they walk almost. You start to adopt each other's phrases and things that each other say. It's training.
It works both ways. It can affect you, or you can fix that toxic as well. Because they may be toxic because they never had anything, or they don't know how to be different. So as you go through the struggles and the ups and downs of building that person up, then they may end up being fucking one of your best fucking friends. You have no idea.
You put that work in.
You actually put in the work. 100%. 100%.
But you don't know everything you just described. We only know now because we're like in our 40s. But when you're going through it as a young child, trying to navigate how to form a relationship, probably like, I like that person did this, so we connect on that. I found that we have a similarity, right? So we're attracted to each other based on similar interests and things that we like. And then over time, it's exactly like you just said it. You know what I mean? Shit. Hold on. I have no idea what point I was trying to make.
You grow together, and you can either grow to be that toxic person together, toxic people who like, or you can let that toxic shit go or affect you, or you can adopt the good qualities of other people and go from there. You can actually grow as you want to hang out with people you admire, or people like that are on, like, if not on the same level or above you. You know what I mean? You also want to pull the people below you up. If they're willing, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to fucking drink. And if they don't drink, and if that's the pattern of it, just weed off. You know what I mean? They don't have to be a part. You know what I mean?
That's not your people. Your people are somewhere else.
And that's completely okay. It's okay to walk away from people. And a lot of people don't understand. Well, why don't you like me? I don't have to like you. And no one has to like you. You're not entitled to fucking anything.
You smell like Doritos. I don't like that.
Cheeto dust in your belly button.
The only friends I have do not smell like snacks.
Open bag Doritos.
Those are just boundaries, all right? It's just a boundary I have with all my friends. They just can't smell like nacho cheese Doritos. Cool Ranch, we're okay. Not nacho cheese.
Something about that nacho cheese. And I think with my father as well, it was isolation, bottling everything up, and just straight work. That's how he dealt with a lot of what going to the bar. That was my dad's main fucking thing. And then he would get drunk and then come home and do dad things. Bad dad things.
Do drunk bad things?
Dad things. There you go. And
I never met your father.
He died back in 2002 while I was in the military. He stayed in Southern California, LA, Van Nuys area for years upon years. He never left down there.
When we were hanging out in high school and stuff, I don't remember your dad even being a topic of conversation ever.
No, it wasn't more of a sore subject. It was still really, I didn't understand the situation.
Right.
Really, and I felt really hurt by it. So I really didn't talk much about it or anything else like that. It was just my mom and me. You know what I mean? My brother was out there too. So I looked up to my brother a lot. There's a 13-year gap in between my brother and I. I think my brother's the first one that got you really, really shit-faced drunk.
It was my first drink. The first time I ever got drunk was at your brother's party. Stumbling home through the field and the Pinion, where the Pinion Plaza was. Dude, I was just milling around drunk through this field at 13 years old. I drank a 40. I think I threw up. I drank a 40. A Mickey's 40. Oh, man.
Was it Mickey's or St. Ides? I think we were...
It might have been St. Ides.
We were popping on St. Ides back
then. We were doing the last. Back then.
My brother would get it by the box.
I remember hanging out in Remember when I stole my dad's truck and I I drove out to your house in Mount House, and I didn't know how to downshift. So when I was coming up to the turn, I had no idea how to downshift, and I ended up just spinning out right when I turned into your neighborhood. I didn't hit anything, and I was like, "Oh, I'm all right." Shit, you just kept going to your house. You never found out until I told
And I went down to back into yours
you. What?
when I stole my mom's car, and I went down to your.
Did your mom catch you?
Oh, my grandma did, and then my snitched me out.
Grandma. That's fun. I remember that night we had those two girls, and we were listening to Tupac all night in the black lights in your room. Do you remember?
Josh, yeah, Tanya, I remember her.
You still?
I remember her.
That was such a formative time in my life. I just remember that feeling. Like, oh, we got some girls, we got some weed, we got some alcohol. We're fucking at the pinnacle
Lit.
of
And
big
Mom
pimping.
Moore.
Oh man, that shit was fun. Good old days.
Memories.
Well,
And that was a bunch of fucking. That's what kids do, right? Literally, what kids do.
that's normal shit. My kids aren't doing that.
I never had a chance to do that.
Never.
I just started drinking till
We were really rebellious.
6:27.
Holy
Yeah.
shit. Awesome.
At the same time, it was because of breaking home and all kinds of stuff like that. And it's kind of funny because it's like my dad was drunk and came home. It was like my dad never came home drunk, but anger issues, huge anger issues, and there was quite a bit of things like that. It was kind of like the guy who didn't want you to fail at anything, which was good in a sense, but then also everything was highly competitive. Everything was a lot.
A huge weight on your shoulders from having to live up to a certain
There's
standard.
standards and everything like that, and then him and my mom broke up, type of thing. And for the most part, during especially high school, I have one girlfriend that ended up becoming a long distance relationship. I had two. Took care of my little sister because my mom was working. I basically had to step up and be an adult when I was 15. So all those times those just flew past me. And then right after that, I went straight to college, got a couple of degrees, did stuff. So when it came down to that, I basically had to bypass all of that and just go straight up into adulthood in a sense.
You grew
That's
up
kind of a good thing. You got to mature quicker and before most people do. And then now you're old enough you can mess around. When I did drugs and alcohol, I was too young to do it, so it stuck into my fucking system forever and ever, and I ruined a ton of time. You know what I'm saying? So your situation sounds a little better than that. It's but from an addiction standpoint, not from a childhood standpoint. It sounds pretty shitty, but you grew up pretty quick, sounds like.
But I remember my dad getting mad at. I think we were just like going to. He needed to go to a store or something to pick up something, and I guess he called in advance. And they're like, "Let's pick it up on a Sunday." So he goes there, and they're closed on a Sunday.
Just vandalizing? What? Spray painting?
And
Oh, shit.
my dad is kind of like, Sam, you have that, but I have like the total opposite, which was a lot too. But I kind of laugh at these things now. Just
Quick question. Now that we've all divulged kind of like how our fathers reacted
Mhm.
towards things, are you going through the process of correcting those faults with it comes down to your kids? Because I know I didn't. My dad wouldn't tell me shit about shit. There was no type of. It felt like emotional guidance towards anything. It was either fucking word or this is how you do something. Don't get me wrong. He was very instructive. He would give little tidbits of advice here and there about like how to deal with women, how to deal with this and stuff like that, but never how he felt about things or how certain things. And with my son, my correction for that is tell him about things that I go through. I tell him about like how to handle certain situations or how you can look at things a different way or whatever the case may be. He understands. I'm more open with him. And that I think that's where I missed out on the relationship with my father.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way I corrected towards that.
That sounds like a natural thing.
Is there any type of corrections that you've made from like the way your father reacted towards things that you now do things differently because of the way you saw him do things?
I think for me, for sure, for maybe in my 30s, I had a resentment towards my dad. He didn't tell me anything about women, about how to work on cars, about how to do anything. He didn't teach me things that our society tells you father and son should do. Throw throw the ball, hold the flashlight while he fixes the engine. None of that stuff.
That can be traumatic.
So, well, the resentment that I had was because I didn't know anything and I was blaming my dad for it.
Gotcha.
I know that was bullshit. But my fix for that, how I do it with my kids, is I tell them, I'm very honest with them about everything that I can think of that I've screwed up. I tell them about my mistakes mostly. Just so, this is what I did. It didn't work. This is how it made me feel. I would suggest don't, that's kind of how I lay the lessons out for my kids, especially when I can see something. I can see moments in them where they're embarrassed or they're just going through a thing because I remember it. I remember the exact same feeling. I can see the look on their face, and then I'll hit them with my story when I see that. Hey, look, one in particular, I faked getting injured in football once because I fumbled the ball and I was crying. And I didn't want anyone to know, so I faked being injured. Shit like that. Those are the lessons. This is what I did. It really embarrassed me. I shouldn't have done it. I should have just sacked up. I dropped the ball. I suck. But those are the types of lessons that I'm trying to teach my kids. Stuff that I wish my dad would have.
I think that right there, if you're laying out the railway, you see which way the train is going, and you try to put the rails in front of it before it actually has a chance to derail.
Right.
So,
well, just give them an option. You have another direction. This is what I did when I got here, and it wasn't good. So you could either do the same thing, and I promise you it won't be good, or you could go another way. Try that.
Make your ride a little bit smoother. What about you, Chris? Do you find yourself correcting towards your father and how you treat
There's a lot of things because obviously I'm an Aries and we get a fiery temper too. So a lot of points of time where it's like why I'm like very chill about things was because I realized my problem was that I was overcritical about things because I've always had somebody who was overcritical about me. And one of the big problems that I have and I faced with in my relationships and in my parenting is to not be so hard on people because, and that's why you'll see me sometimes where I'll give people the benefit of the doubt. You've seen me do that and so forth is because if I was to tell you exactly how things were and exactly how things are, it's terrifying and people will actually shut down and break down. And a lot of people can't take half the crap that I've dealt with and so forth. It's kind of like everybody wants to be Michael Jordan until you have to literally sit in a room by yourself and just take shot after shot after shot after shot. They don't want to do that training. They don't want to go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. They don't want to. And the thing about it is that I'm pretty hard on myself. Right now, I've this last year, I realized, hey, look, I've gained way too much weight than I should have, and I need to change it. So I've actually been doing my at-home workouts, been going to the gym a lot more. I did 4.5 miles yesterday, just, arms and stuff like that. I did some weightlifting. I did my home workout. So I'm putting a lot more effort into, like, who I am as a person in the form of fitness. And I know that, I know that a lot of times we kind of get a lot more credit than what's due. Which is like, oh, well, as bad. I'm not like my friend over here. I'm not this, but that's not who we're supposed to be comparing ourselves to. But the problem with what I was doing was that it wasn't just that I was comparing to someone better. It was that you can see where a person can be or should be. And if they're not there, then you making sure that they understand how horrible of a person they are at that point. And the problem with that is that it's kind of like Hellfire Christians where they're like, the reason why you need to come to church is because you're going to hell. It's like, that doesn't attract anybody.
That's not motivating.
And the thing about it is, like, it already makes you friends. It makes it more like a slave-master dynamic than it does actually a relationship. So it's a big situation, and that's one thing that I've really had to overcome throughout these years because you see someone's best and they're not, that, then that's one of those things that kind of be a bit upset. And you can't use the same fear tactics on one person as you can someone else, especially don't do it on women. Do you ever see that episode of King of the Hill where Peggy was like really downtrodden because she wasn't able to do something that she wanted to? I forgot what it was, but Hank's like, was like, oh man, I remember the time when in football back in in high school that my coach gave me this huge prep talk, and we ended up like scoring, winning the game when we were down like 15 or something like that. So she's like tearing, and she's like, oh, okay, I can use one of those pep talks. And he proceeds to belittle her, telling her she's a baby, that she needs to go home to her mama and everything like that, because that's what her coach would do. His coach would do. And it's like, not everyone can actually take that kind of, you can say abuse or whatever you want to call it. Not many people can take those tough love. And it's like a comedy act or, Joe, you have to understand your audience in order to make the connection there. And that's one of the big things that, I do with my relationships and try to do with my daughter even as a parent, to make sure that I don't just, personality, but at the same time, she actually gets up and does the things she needs to do and, little girl that she needs to be.
Yeah. That tough love that my dad gave me as far as instruction goes, it did, like, I understand it at the time, like, especially up underneath the teetering car at pick parts, and it's like obviously wobbling. He's like, "Put your bitch and get under there and grab that fucking part."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh God!" What that did, that like hit me for working in other shops and then being in that situation where other tough love is there. Like, it's not even tough love because there's no love. They're just tough. It's just disciplinary. It's just either you're going to do it or we're going to replace you. And they will talk shit the entire way, especially when you're in the trades. Like, it is worse, but like it's still bad. You know what I mean? And so, like, we're going through these motions, like, and doing that stuff with the people that you love, it brings you towards like that training that's going to be a part of like other parts of life later on, because there really is no soft spot in life. Like, they don't owe you anything. They don't owe you that respect. I think that's the reason why a lot of women do struggle with working in the trades, is because the training is it's tough.
Hellfire.
Like, we can't. Like, what are you doing? Hold the fucking flashlight right there type shit. Like, what you?
Who taught you to hold a fucking hammer? Did your daddy teach you to swing a fucking hammer? Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, that, like, it kind of prepares you in a way for, like, going, like, what's going to happen in real life. And if you're able to deal with it through, like, even when friends are talking shit amongst each other, like, it's up a little bit of confidence, like, well, they were just saying this shit, we were cracking jokes about this, so this motherfucker's saying this about me, doesn't mean anything. Nope. Because, like, I'm able to joke and laugh about this stuff on a regular basis. Like, how do we laugh and joke about fucking things?
Right. Like, yeah, you gotta have thick enough skin and you gotta have the understanding, when I get out into this world, people are gonna be mean to me. I'm gonna need to form a kind of defense for that, or no defense at all, just like not let that affect you. That's almost impossible, but practice is the only way to develop it, right? Yeah. Practicing it.
Yeah, and don't always understand, like, what is to your training or what's going into, like, that hazing or whatever the case may be, until later on, until you actually have the full understanding, like the level to actually get it, or the full picture, if you will. Right. And then you can actually see what's going on.
The psychology of hazing is crazy to me, because it's very important that it does take place. And it's weird, like, when it goes down, because when they're going to haze someone, it's a group of people that know a skill and they kind of understand it at a similar level, kind of to a guy who doesn't understand it, who doesn't know it yet. So really, it's a challenge. They're challenging them. Like, I bet you can't do that. If you can do that, we'll let you into this cool group. But until you get past that barrier, we're going to give it to you and try to make you quit, make you cry, and all that kind of shit.
You want it more.
Right.
If
you want to shut them up, right?
If you're able to deal with all that stuff, if you're able to deal with that stuff, then you can actually, like, push when you're actually challenged, and when you're by yourself, you're going to push a little bit more because you're used to going through all this other stuff. Now it's on you. So now you're going to push towards finding a solution and working towards a solution instead of, like, on other people to give you those solutions.
Right.
You know what I mean? It builds up resilience within you so you can battle on further by yourself.
And it makes you think, like, when it does that to you, it's them telling you, hey, we're not here to help you. You got to figure this part out and then we'll help you. Like you're on your own right now. Show us that you are smart.
Yes.
Yeah, that you're capable of figuring this stuff out.
Yeah.
Now, I condone physical hazing or
No.
sexual hazing. That's
No.
not okay. But like as far as doing certain tasks, it's a requirement. It really is.
Yeah,
To be
tasks.
task, lower level, like, and then understand the fucking hierarchy. You have to understand the hierarchy. Don't step into a field trying to tell the expert in that field how things should be done. Learn how he does things or how she does things,
Mhm.
and then you're able to, like, once you master it the way they've showed you, then interject and like, okay, I can do it your way, but I figure out an easier way. I can do it this way.
Yeah.
And you're doing it that way, and then something happens. You're like, oh, well, that's the reason why he didn't do it that way.
Yeah.
Like now still a learning process within yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, shit, guys, we got an hour. I'm gonna go check on my granddaughter and get the rest of my day going on.
Oh, grandfather, old man over there.
Yeah, I love it. This is my
All
favorite.
these
Yeah.
things, that's awesome.
Like I said, you raise your what do you call it? Your children so you can spoil your grandchildren. Because if you spoil your children, you'll raise your grandchildren.
Yeah,
And
true
you
that.
pump them full of sugar and send them back home to their parents.
Yeah. No, I'm super proud of my daughter and her
Congratulations.
husband. They're just really
That's
good parents.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Because it's,
Yeah, that's a win, right?
it's kind of weird because a lot of people are like, not only married, but then also not having a relationship. You know what I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. And once you have your community, your homestead going up, you can put your kids to work. Like,
Dude, we're close.
and
I've been
like,
pulling my son out to do at least accompany me on jobs and kind of the rundown of run an adjuster meeting, what I'm looking for when I go look at a roof. Like he's so
that's awesome.
yeah,
That's
he's
awesome.
excited.
That's a really good trade.
And that also translates into being better and more productive adults.
Right. He right now, that I'm glad he's learning that skill where most people don't have it, where you're afraid to talk to someone of like, if you were to meet the president, could you have a normal conversation with him? Get him through the fear of talking to people. Like just who you are and you can talk to anybody, dude. Because once you can talk to anybody doing what I do, if you're comfortable talking to anyone, dude, you can just you can crush it. Crush it. So a lot of what I'm trying to teach him is to be good with your words, like learn to read, learn how to express yourself, get really, really good with your words. It's a lot of power. You can get a lot from people.
I don't know if you've ever heard of this book or if you've read it already, but Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Win People Over.
Look,
What is it?
Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Win People Over.
Hmm.
It was written in like 1922.
Yeah.
It's staple on a lot of business classes and everything else like that. It's a wonderful read. Like I try to read it multiple times, like once a year.
I'll check out.
Like honestly, I'm probably gonna. I wouldn't mind going through it again on Audible. And
It's on
then
Plex.
if you want to have like talks about it,
We could do that. We could do a discussion on it. I'll read it and we could do a discussion on it. That'd be
that
cool.
would be awesome. That would be awesome. I love doing that.
Will you text me the name of that when we're done?
Yeah, I will.
And I'll get it. I read those other books that you talked about, like Unfuck. I've read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Have you read the 5 second rule?
Oh,
No, it's not the food one.
It took 5 seconds to
my
write
bad.
that book.
It's actually a really cool book. It's a really simple concept, but I read that book and I fucking use that shit every
Gotcha.
day. Yeah, it's a cool little self-help thing. Anyway, all right. So 2 weeks from today, we'll do it again. Let's throw some topics in our group chat that we got going in. So we'll kind of for little conversations next time.
I like our little ramble. We most definitely had a ramble. We had a lot of things going. Like you have some good bits on it.
Yeah,
I was late once again.
no worries. It is all good. I mean, what I'm trying to do is just capture genuine conversations anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll get better at it as we proceed.
What did I do? Less fidgeting.
I think you were fine.
And thank you once again for listening to Almost Above Average. And remember, it's okay to not be okay. And reaching out for help is a sign of strength, not weakness. If this episode resonated with you, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. It helps others find our show and benefit from these important conversations. Also, think about that someone in your life who could use this message and share this episode with them. Join us next time as we continue to explore the topics that shape our lives. Until then, keep striving to be almost above average.